you're waiting for the Saskatoon real estate market to crash, well, you might be waiting a very long time, because what just happened in March 2025, well, we hit another record where the lowest inventory since 2007, multiple offers, prices getting sold way above the ask price, lots of offers, properties selling under a week, and just crazy busy market. So whether you're buying, selling, or investing in this market, the market has just changed the game. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down everything that you need to know, backed by real data, explained simply with tips that you can actually use to navigate this dynamic Saskatoon real estate market. What's up, everyone? My name is Jack Bouvier with the Bouvier Real Estate Group at eXp Realty, helping you navigate this dynamic Saskatoon real estate market that we have, building wealth through real estate, and just helping you make better informed decisions. So if you have any questions about buying, selling, or investing in this market, feel free to reach out. All my contact information is in the description below, and along with all my free resources to my website. If you'd like to get a complimentary home evaluation, well, my website, you just type in bouvierrealestate.com, and then on the website here, you can look at all the properties that are currently for sale. If you go on all of the listings, you could also get a free instant home evaluation on this home evaluation site. So all those links are in the website. But for today, I want to go through, like I said, all of the backed information and data based off of the Saskatoon housing market. So what we see here, there was a total of 403 sales that occurred in Saskatoon in March 2025. There's an 11% increase compared to last year, 13% compared to the year-over-year 10-year average. And as for new listings, there's 535 new listings that got posted since March, and that's 1% fewer than what we saw last year, 27% lower compared to what we've seen in the 10-year average. And as for active listings, there's 602 active new listings, with that making 403 sales. There isn't a whole lot of new listings that are keeping up with the amount of sales that we're getting. So there is certainly a lot more demand and sales happening than the supply that's keeping up with the market. This is actually down 25% compared to last year, which, like we said, is the lowest inventory that we've ever seen in 2007. We're just hitting record-breaking lows, and that's when there was that big, or just before the big financial crash in 2008. So some very interesting things, in my opinion, might be happening in the market. Who knows what is going to happen? People might be thinking there's going to be a big crash, and yes, the bigger centers might be seeing that more in the condo market. However, in Saskatoon, with our strong economy here and our demand for our natural resources and agriculture and just economy that delivers to all of our country, I think we're going to be poised here for lots of growth and just positioned very well to sustain the growth of the real estate market. And yes, there's always going to be those seasonal ups and downs, but I think overall we're sitting quite well in the market. So those are the overall citywide statistics there. And as for supply and demand imbalance, like I talked about, there's a lot more sales than there are coming up new listings. We've seen on average 25 days that properties have been selling for, and the sales price has been, well, the list to sale price has been 57% of homes that are selling at or above the list price. So that means all the properties that are getting listed at that price are selling either above or at that price that they're asking for, which sellers, as you can predict, it is a more seller's market right now, where those sellers are getting pretty much the ask price for their property, if not more, if positioned well with the price and the marketing strategy by their real estate agent. So it's certainly very advantageous for sellers right now to be in this market and selling their home for top dollar. And with the supply that we have, it's less of 1 month supply with the stats and the numbers. So really not a whole lot of options for buyers to choose from in this market, just hence why we're seeing such a high increase in price. Now, going on to my next slide here, we can see that the price has significantly gone up since we've seen last year. Since all the way in September 2003, prices were at $360,000, and they've gone up all the way to a peak in May 2024 to $395,000. And then we saw those seasonal dips in the winter months, but then now we've picked back up even more this year. March 2025, we're now at a benchmark price of $415,000, which is pretty crazy. That's the average benchmark price for all the properties, luxury, condo, mobile homes, everything included in there. But we've certainly seen a big increase, that 6% increase compared to what we've seen in March last year, where year it was sitting at $390,000. So quite a big jump, and like I said, only suspect that to be going up. Yes, there's going to be those seasonal ups and downs, but I think it's just going to continue to go up and up. So that's what we've seen there with the price. Now, as for the single family detached homes in Saskatoon, for the detached homes, the benchmark price is $477,000. So that does not include those townhouses or condos. This is up 7% compared to last year. So still prices are increasing even with the detached home market, which is the more popular market and product and type of home that is sold in the market. Inventory is less than 2 months of supply. So again, still a very much seller's market, which is creating tons of competition, making buyers kind of fight for all the properties, and lots of them are getting sold, like we saw, above the ask price as well. The sales to list ratio, we're seeing 99 to 100% of the asking price achieved on average. It is absolutely pretty ridiculous just to see how much demand there is with such little supply, creating these very crazy market dynamics in the Saskatoon single family detached home market. So very, very interesting to see just what sort of outcome that we might see in the next couple months. I think it's only going to continue on until maybe things slow down in fall, winter, but I suspect this summer and fall to just be as busy. So we'll see where things go from there. As for the attached homes, the condominiums, and the townhouses, benchmark average price is around $348,000, 9% above last year's price in March, and days on market is between 3 to 5 weeks. And then for condominiums, benchmark price is $252,000 with a 10% increase over last year. So we've been seeing a lot of increase in condominiums and townhouses as well, because that's a very early entry and first time home buyer home product that's been selling a lot, and just easier access and easier, I would not say access, but barrier of entry with the price to get into the townhouses and the condominiums. So there's been a lot of increase of interest in these types of products, and hence we can see by the increase in price as well. Now, as for neighborhood statistics, people are always questioning about the east side and the west side. So with the east side, like Briarwood, Willow Grove, Nutana, those areas are very, very popular. Average price is around $525,000, which is a 12% increase over last year. 14 days on market, which is crazy low. That's only 2 weeks that a property takes to sell. Some are even selling within days. Lots of them, I would say 80 to 90% of homes are having presentation of offers. So you have to put your best offer on the table. Sellers get multiple offers to select from, and they pick the best offer and they're happy. And the buyers are fighting their heads off to just get an offer accepted, which is very, very challenging. And so that's 35% increase from last year with the days on market. So things are selling super quick. As for the sales to list ratio, that's over the actual list price. So the houses on the east side are selling on average higher than the ask price than what they're asking for. So very, very popular east side market. Now, as for the west side, such as Confederation Park, Caswell, Mayfair, Riversdale, those areas, we're seeing an average price of $385,000, which is still quite high, lower than the benchmark average of the whole city, but that is a 9% increase over last year. 22 days on market, which is still quite low. That's 18% lower from last year. So last year we actually saw a little bit busier, or I would not say busier, but quicker sale price and quicker days on market. Now, as for the days on market, we're at 22 days on market, which is down 18% compared to last year. So the properties on the west side are even selling quicker as well, just like the east side. We're seeing 22 days on market. Last year it was 18% slower, so we're seeing properties even on the west side picking up as well. Inventory decreases by 45% below the 5-year average, so less properties for sale even on the west side, just like the whole city, where there's not a whole lot of options to choose from. Now, as for the downtown area where there's a bunch of condos, we have seen that the prices of these condos also go up by 15.7%. $295,000 is the average price. The absorption rate is 85% of the new listings sold monthly, so quite a bit of those properties getting sold quickly. And then the new development pre-sales, 92% of the properties that are getting developed before they actually completed the build are selling 92% before their completion. So it's just goes to show that even buyers are doing whatever they can to get a property before it gets sold. So there's developers trying to keep up with the demand, and we just need more product and inventory to be able to keep up with the demand. Now, as for the surrounding areas, with all of the other locations kind of in the suburbs and whatnot, average price 452,000, 8% increase. Total inventory decreased by 38% compared to March 2024. And new construction starts, so all those new builds, is up 22% to meet the demand. So all the neighborhoods are experiencing tremendously historically low inventory to sales ratios, creating tons of competitive competition across these whole areas of the city. So now, as we can tell with the different dynamics of the city of Saskatoon, every price point has its own market and demand and supply. So we're seeing a lot of interest in the more lower end price points, 400 and below, entry level homes and mid-range homes. I've been seeing tons of these entry level homes getting snatched up very quickly with all these new Canadians and new people moving to Saskatoon that are looking for their first house. They're getting absorbed just immediately, sold quickly with multiple offers, like I said. So that's been the bulk of our market. Now next we've had the mid-range homes, so people that are looking for their next house. That's less than 1 month of inventory, which there's still tons of competition, lots of presentation of offers, and still lots of demand. People are expanding their families and whatnot. There's lots of interest there as well, and very competitive as well. Now with those luxury homes that are $1 million plus, we've been seeing months of supply, 4 to 5 months, and that's more of a balanced market. There's not as crazy much competition in that market. It's more balanced with just things taking time and more advertising for the property to find that right ideal buyer, and not as much pressure and stress and competition that those mid-range and entry-level homes are experiencing. So with these conditions, all sorts, buyers are facing tons of challenges, and they're putting in offers on multiple properties and not getting anything accepted, and having lots of challenges of knowing what sort of offers to put in. And I've been having some success with my clients on different tools and strategies and clauses and terms in our offers that are allowing them to get accepted, but that's not the case for all buyers. And if you are struggling to get your offer accepted, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to offer you guidance and assistance to help make sure your offer does get accepted. But there's just very few limited properties available, and again, I help out with that by offering off-market properties to my clients, door knocking for them and finding them those properties without having to go through all the competition in the market by fighting for the properties that all the other buyers are looking for. So if you do find a property, if a buyer does find a property that they like, they have to act almost immediately. If they like it, make an offer immediately. There's tons of bidding wars, lots of presentation of offers. Like I said, about 80% of the properties that are listed are having those presentation of offers. So you must know how to put in a strong offer. Make sure you vet your agent and make sure that they're working on your best behalf to make sure your offer gets accepted. And for sellers, they're the ones that have the advantage with tons of negotiating and leverage on their court. 75% of sales to new listings, and just properties selling above asking, and things going within days and if not hours. So like I said, it's very competitive for buyers, very advantageous for sellers. So if you are thinking about selling and want to know how to position your house to get top dollar and have strong marketing so you make sure that you're capitalizing on the market, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you out with that as well, and would love to connect. So with all of the market dynamics, 3 out of 4 new listings sold within the month across virtually all the neighborhoods. So like I said, 75% sales to new listings ratio with the market that we were seeing, which is very, very strong. So now what can we expect for the rest of 2025 in spring? We're in April right now. I suspect the shortage of houses to continue to stay the same unless a lot of sellers come out of their nest and want to capitalize on this market and make it more a balanced market. But I think that there's just going to be more buyers coming to the market that's going to continue this vicious supply and demand cycle that we're experiencing with the interest rates coming down and just the different political situation that we got going on. I think people are going to want to get into the market earlier rather than later. So I think that this is going to persist with the continued shortage and increased demand, making it more of a seller's market until things potentially slow down in the winter time. I think we're going to see more of a price appreciation. I think they're going to continue to increase over the months on end. So I think if you are thinking about buying, don't wait, just get into the market earlier rather than later. And also just make sure you're working with a good real estate agent that is there to help you get your your offer accepted with their strategies, and how do they help you find off-market properties so you don't have to deal with this competition, and making sure that they're vetting for your best interest and helping you get your offers accepted. And if you are a seller, also making sure that your property gets positioned and marketed in its best light so you can capitalize on this beautiful market as a seller to get top dollar for your home. So once again, thank you so much for staying to this very end of the video of the Saskatoon real estate market in March 2025. If you have any questions about the market specifically that I did not touch on, that you have more questions about, feel free to reach out to me. As I said, my contact information is the video description below, and I'd be more than happy to connect with you. And thanks again for staying tuned. We'll be in touch.